Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Planet Zoo Update Ideas Part 3. Today we're going to be talking about backgrounds, skins, and more. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're not really familiar with it, this is a series I used to do at the start of 2022, where I talked about update ideas for Planet Zoo. It was the sister series to the since discontinued DLC ideas, which you may have seen. But first up, we've got backgrounds. Now, last update, or the update before, we got backgrounds for all the maps, so all biomes are continent. Desert Asia was different to Desert Africa. While that was one of the best changes, there is one thing that could be added. We should be given the option to add city, town, village, of course they're not all backdrops. Basically, imagine this picture you see on the right, but in the distance of a desert map. Sure, you maybe don't want to render a whole city, but like a 2D backdrop or something would look great. Many people would agree with the city backdrops, but maybe not so much for the other two. See why I like those two? Let's look at the Peak District National Park in England. I went there last summer, and some of the things there gave me ideas for my own zoos, so this is more than just background. There are lots of villages here and other things to look at. In case you want some zoo ideas, this picture is perfect for a tall sheep or alpine ibex enclosure. Some other lovely pictures of this include, as you can see, it's not necessarily like village or whatever. You've got bridges and that, which I think are interesting, and ruins. Also, those pictures on the right of a place called Cheedale. Sounds very similar to cheese, so that's good on its own. But aside from the nettles, it's definitely a good place for making zoo ideas, especially the stepping stones and giant bridge. So, free animals next. Now, the DLCs take a long time to come out, except for the gap between the NA in Europe and Twilight and Grassland DLCs, where they're like a couple of weeks. The only thing against my upcoming idea here is that it might take the razzle dazzle out of those anniversary updates. But here goes. Free update animals should be released between updates if they take a long time. Here are some animals lots of people want to see in the game. So, we're going to go clockwise. Great Hornbills or Buceros bicornis. They are good ideas for the new walking exhibit, especially since people think there's going to be loads of birds in them now. Ball pythons, Python regis. They're popular pet animals. In fact, I have one of my own that looks identical to that one. The reason as to why it may look bizarre is actually going to be in a few ideas' time. The bearded dragon, or Pagona viticeps, is probably the most requested animal on this list besides the elk, which is next. They also have George privilege. If you're familiar with my YouTube channel, you might get that. Elk, or Cervus canadensis, a large deer, and that's about it. Now, the black and white tegu, or Salvata meriani, would be a habitat reptile, which we haven't seen a lot of since the came in from last year. So yeah, free animals definitely be good. Now then, reptile morphs. A little bit backstory. When they made the Australia pack in 25th of August 2020, so nearly 3 years ago. Wow. You're old. But anyway, guys, they said that they were announcing like the different skin variations for the habitat animals, but they said we'd only have albino for the exhibit ones. Now, I must admit their reasoning for that was pretty poor. I think it was like, oh, they're a bit small, so no one would care anyway. Reptile morphs. The aforementioned ball python from earlier had a special morph called banana, which I think is part albino. I need to look that up again. As you can see, lots of reptiles do have morphs, like different ones. It's not just the standard like, oh, green lizard, there could be one with blue dots on it. Sadly, none of them come in the form of a little red claymation figure man. So, a lot of reptiles have them, so why not add morphs for the exhibit animals? Fun fact, there is actually an iguana morph mod on Nexus, so you can check that out if you want. So, we're going to go round again. Banana ball python is 1. Next to it, 2 is Wero bearded dragon. Number 3 is the Caribbean green iguana. And number 4 is Tremper albino leopard gecko. Now, I just noticed, I'm pretty sure the number 3 could be a subspecies, but I think that could work as well. Of course, morphs aren't Reptile exclusive, and 3/4 of the last animals aren't actually in the game. The iguana is the only one. So let's see what could be added as of today. The motley boa constrictor, the chimera axolotl, the super aptly named hangover red-eye tree frog, the white-sided western diamondback rattlesnake, and the albino Nile monitor. This is in game, but I'm going to explain why I specifically added this one next. Improved Nile monitor lizard skins. The text is quite big. The skin of the Nile monitor in game is quite inaccurate, both normal and albino. And speaking of that, what is up with that ampersand? Above is the ones in real life, so you can see top left is the real life normal one, the top right is the albino, and the below is the ones in game. I can make out quite a few differences. This isn't complaining about the Nile monitor skins, I'm just saying they remind me more of other monitor lists, they don't really look Nile monitor-y. This was in the last video I made, but Scenario Maker. Next up we have Realism for Anteaters. Now, Anteaters are not safe to be in walkthrough exhibits as they are in the game. In fact, they once killed a zookeeper by slashing her with their claws. Basically, I'm going to explain it a bit more. So you know how they have like the termite mounds and that, and how they dig? Yeah, it turns out those claws can be used to cut you in half. I don't really want that in a Peggy 7 game. And that is the end of today's video. I think it was a bit shorter than the others, but I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe if you did. And yeah, see you next time.